Hey, what's up guys? John here. Florida's had roughly 2,000 people per day move to this great state. Think about how much money is coming to this state. And unfortunately, for people that are buying property, that are intending to invest here, that is only going to likely drive values even further because there's going to be more demand to buy properties in a state where the politician is backing your best interest. Ron DeSantis 5 days ago had me concerned when he extended the emergency orders, meaning that we are not going back to a place of full-fledged freedom anytime soon. However, today he took a step in the complete opposite direction to completely open the state with no emergency orders and allow us to resume our lives to full normalcy. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's going on in this state. This news just dropped about 30 minutes ago. Please smash that like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share the content and educate more people in different states about what's really going on in places like Florida. Please hit that like button. Let's begin. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspends all local emergency mandates. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is taking executive action to suspend all local 19 emergency mandates immediately, and is issuing an executive order to outlaw all local 19 emergency mandates in the state, effective July 1st. DeSantis cited the ample availability of vaccines in the Sunshine State and said supply has now eclipsed demand. According to the CDC and prevention data, 20.9 million doses have been distributed in the state, and 15.5 million shots have been administered in the state with a population of roughly 21.5 million people. DeSantis made the announcement as he signed a bill that bans entities, including private businesses, from requiring the new passport, and that amends the state's Emergency Management Act by placing limits on local emergency powers. What I'm going to do is sign the bill. It's effective July 1st, DeSantis says, at the bill signing Monday in St. Petersburg. I will also sign an executive order pursuant to that bill invalidating all remaining local emergency orders effective July 1st. But then to bridge the gap between then and now, I'm going to suspend under my executive power the local emergency orders as it relates to COVID. I think that's the evidence-based thing to do. Now, when we have mayors and leaders and politicians and governors, people that are speaking out and fighting for freedom, investors, business owners, people are paying attention to that. And what is ultimately going to happen is the states that have these types of leaders in place are going to really just draw in a lot of capital, a lot of investment, and a lot of business and opportunities for the citizens of these states, cities, and jurisdictions. DeSantis said in his administration wants people to enjoy themselves and live freely in the state of Florida. DeSantis already unilaterally banned even private businesses from requiring the proof of to enter. The law banning the passport effective July 1st entails a $5,000 fine for any time a business or school requires the proof of for entry. So you think about how powerful that is. If a business or school is requiring that you have that passport to enter, in my opinion, they're standing against freedom. They're standing against America. DeSantis, a Republican and potential 2024 presidential contender, has been among the governors quickest to drop the 19 safety protocols. But other more liberal jurisdictions are making moves towards nixing the 19 restrictions too. New York City expects to return to full capacity by July 1st. Rochelle Walensky has said she thinks July 1st is a reasonable target for essentially returning to normal if vaccines continue to increase at the rate they have been, and if cases continue to drop at the same pace. More than 100 million Americans are fully... Okay, so ultimately, I don't think New York opens back up. I don't think California fully opens back up, in my personal opinion. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to keep kicking the can down the road like they've been doing for a very long time. And these politicians, they are realizing more power than they've ever had throughout their entire lives. There's a very small chance that a new variant or a new problem doesn't come out from now until then to where there's not a reason for them to extend. But Ron DeSantis taking action, saying today on, this is what's happening. That says a lot more to me than just another promise and another, carrot down the road that we're all supposed to, wait for. In addition to that, Ron DeSantis begins handcuffing the cities. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said he was immediately suspending all the local 19 emergency orders by executive order on Monday while signing a law that restricts what governors and mayors can do during the pandemic. I think that's the evidence-based thing to do, DeSantis said at a news conference in St. Petersburg. I think that folks that are saying they need to be policing people at this point, if you're saying that, then you're really saying you don't believe in the vaccines. According to the SB 2006, which DeSantis signed, any emergency order could only last as long as 42 days. It gives the governor the authority to overrule cities and counties at any time, and city and county commissions the power to overrule the mayors. The law grants the legislature power to overrule any emergency mandates or restrictions by the governor, which DeSantis implied was to prevent future Democratic governors from issuing restrictions Republican legislators don't like. I think the legislator looked and said, well, okay, what if we were in California's situation, DeSantis said, referring to the Democratic California governor, Gavin Newsom, who has completely destroyed California, who has continued many of the state's restrictions. What would the legislators' ability to be? And so they put safeguards to people like Florida. State Rep. Anna Escamani of Orlando said the law, as well as Monday's order, will be handcuffing local governments and their ability to respond. The executive order he just signed is just so hypothetical to the so-called values of the party of small government. Escamani said it was local governments that led the way of protecting their people and putting into play standards that help to stop the spread and holding businesses accountable who are not following the best procedures. And it really is so important that every agency at every level work together to solve these problems, not continue to demonize local government. St. Petersburg Mayor Rick Treisman blasted DeSantis on Twitter, writing, "To be clear, cities like St. Pete, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, and Miami Beach saved Florida and the governors behind throughout the pandemic." I wouldn't be so sure to say that. If you've watched any of the video footage in Miami or in South Beach over the last several months, there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gatherings, parties, events. There's been so much activity with zero social distancing. So to give the politicians of places like Miami credibility for saving these cities is kind of laughable. Can you imagine if each city had been led by Ron DeSantis, how many lives would have been lost? What would our economy look like today? But businesses could still require masks, he added, saying it wouldn't affect mask requirements in terms of what a supermarket chooses to do or a Disney theme park. Across Central Florida, counties have enacted emergency order mandates, face mask, and social distancing when possible. Last week, Orange County Mayor Jeff Demings laid out a plan to phase out the various restrictions tied to how quickly a county was vaccinated. Under the Orange County order, residents are urged to avoid large groups and are to stay 3 feet from each other. People are also required to wear a mask indoors if that place is open to the public. Employees that work within 3 feet of others also must require a covering. 3 feet from one another. I mean, if you stand directly next to someone, you might be 1.5 feet, 2 feet. This seems, again, like a way for them just to kind of hold on to just a little bit of power. Local governments in Central Florida had not yet received a copy of the order as of Monday afternoon. Monday's order suspending local restrictions was a stopgap measure until the new law fully takes effect July 1st, DeSantis said. It comes after DeSantis already waived all fines on individuals and businesses, essentially neutering any punishment for violating city-county restrictions. You listen to what he just said, and I wonder if this is going to continue to spread throughout America. He says that he's waiving all fines and all punishments for violating any of the former restrictions. We're no longer in a state of emergency, DeSantis said, despite him renewing the state's emergency declaration for another 60 days on April 27th, which allows Florida to continue drawing down funds from the federal government. The new law states it was the intent of the legislator to minimize the negative effects of the extended emergency order, such as the pandemic or another public health emergency. Any emergency order issued by the city or county has to be limited in duration, applicability, and scope in order to reduce any infringements on individual rights or liberties to the greatest extent possible, it states. Any such order would automatically expire after 7 days and would have to be extended by city or county commissions every week for 42 days. At the time, the law states the governor can invalidate any local order. DeSantis pointed to states and localities that have been under the yoke of some serious restrictions and lockdowns for months and months and months on end. And so I think what the legislator did was very thoughtful. It has my full support. It not only reins in the ability of local governments to do this stuff, it also provides more checks against the state, which I fully support. The law could potentially create a situation like that of Michigan, where Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer's attempt to increase restrictions have largely been overruled by the GOP-led legislator. However, DeSantis added, they didn't need to use these checks against me because I was using this power much more judiciously. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention issued new recommendations last month that masks weren't needed in most outdoor situations other than in crowded events such as concerts and parades. It also still recommends mask wearing indoors. But DeSantis, who opposes mask mandates as far back as last summer, said it was now anti-vaccine to imply further mask mandates were necessary. And while many health experts have warned that vaccine hesitancy could prevent the country from reaching herd immunity, DeSantis said the vaccines were widespread enough that restrictions weren't needed. What's the evidence basis to force someone to wear a mask or any of these restrictions, he said. What are your thoughts on what Ron DeSantis is doing for the great state of Florida? You think it's a great thing that's going to only increase property values, drive more business, drive more tax dollars, more revenue, and make this state really just a safer place? The schools are going to be better funded. The police are going to be better funded, all due to just all this capital flowing in from blue states like California and New York. I mean, California, you're going to spend, LA or anywhere in LA County, you're going to spend $500,000 to $700,000 for a teardown, a major fixer in a kind of a rough neighborhood. Whereas $500,000 to $700,000 in Florida can get you a really nice house, depending, of course, where you want to be. So it just goes to show how much values are going to be increasing, especially from all these people that can work from home now that everyone's kind of acquainted and accustomed to working via Zoom. Drop your comments below. Really curious as to what you think about Ron DeSantis and everything that's happening in Florida. And please smash that like button. Help me share this content. And consider subscribing for more content on personal finance, real estate, business, and of course, money. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Hey, if you'd like to learn how to get started on YouTube, click the link in my bio. It's a free live training. And if you'd like to learn how to invest in cash flowing multifamily real estate for beginners, there's a link there as well. All right, guys.